All right, let's get started. So in this video, we're going to cover some of the navigation with this tool, XMind. So if I clicked on that, and now I have a brand new mind map. So there's a couple of ways to navigate around this. So let's start with, this is the central topic and it's currently selected. The area around it here, this big wide area, and when I zoom out, you can see like there's a lot of space here. This is, you can think of this as the canvas. So there's different ways to manipulate and move around this canvas, and being fluent with, moving around the canvas and, moving from one area of your mind map to another is really, really valuable, because the goal of mind mapping is to be able to get your ideas down onto the mind map and do the brain dump as quickly as possible, so as to minimize the amount of delay or lag between your thought process and having it captured and iterated on in the mind map. So with all that said, let's get into it. So over here, if I right click and hold on any of the areas of the canvas, then I'm able to drag the canvas, and this is like a very, very handy way of navigating around and moving this and positioning the current content you're looking at to various areas of the screen. So this is really, really useful. I use that quite a bit. The other here is that if you hit Control-0, it will bring you back to the central topic centered within the screen, and it will potentially reset the zoom level, I believe. Let's try that again. See here, I pressed Control-0 on the keyboard, and that brought me back here. So now we can talk about some of the keyboard shortcuts that you're able to use here, that I believe are the non-negotiables in terms of making the best use out of this tool. So let's start here with, if you have a topic highlighted, then you're able to create a child by hitting Tab, and another child and another child. You can keep hitting tabs. This is very, very quick. And then now you can use the arrow keys to move around. At any point, you can also hit the Enter button, and that's another important one. That will create a sibling node to this one. So any node you have, if you hit Enter, it will create a sibling, whereas hitting Tab will create a child node. So here's a few children. Here's another, sorry, there were siblings, and here's a few children of this one. So every node could be potentially like a sibling of other nodes beside it, or a child of its parent node. So these terms are like a little bit helpful in terms of just understanding the structure of what we're working with. So if I select this again, Tab, Enter, Enter, Tab, Tab, sorry, Enter, Enter, and now I have kind of created already a bit of a structure. And I'm able to navigate here by using the arrow keys, so like up, down, and if I if I'm here and I hit left, it finds the parent topic, left again parent, left again to the center, and then right, it will go to the first subtopic under this one that I had highlighted. So right again, and you see I'm over here. So you can use the arrow keys to go up and down, and once you're in a branch, you can use the right and left to enter and exit the branch. So that's at a high level how you're gonna use the tab, the enter, to create these nodes and these branches, and then you're gonna use the arrow keys. If at some point they start to get imbalanced or you need to focus on something, then using the canvas drag functionality is very, very helpful, as I mentioned. Okay, now one more thing I wanted to mention here in terms of navigation, just to be a little bit kind of exhaustive. You're able to drag certain nodes or entire branches using the mouse as well. So you see here, it's giving me kind of a visual guide as to where that could be positioned. And by just moving, I'm able to position this entire branch to be, let's say, copied or moved to this main topic 1, instead of having been on a child of central topic. So this is also extremely helpful. So I use that a lot. So I use a bit of a combination of the mouse and the keyboard. The mouse for navigating occasionally, and for getting, you know, a little bit easier from here to there, for example, that won't be an easy thing to do using the keyboard shortcuts. But I'm able to just click and now I'm here and I'm able to enter more information. But also using this to move stuff around is very, very useful. Whereas, you know, all of like this type of functionality is doable using the keyboard as well, but sometimes you'll just find that the combination of mouse and keyboard is the easiest way to jump around. Now, how would we do this moving of things around using the, so this allows you to reorder or to move the entire kind of branch to somewhere else. We can do this also with the keyboard. So if I have a topic selected like this branch, I can, you know, Control X and Control V to copy paste or cut paste. So if I Control X, I've taken that entire branch, and I can come using the keyboard shortcuts and highlight the central topic, hit Control V, and now I've pasted that entire branch here. So that's the equivalent of me having dragged it and moved it to down there. So again, just Control X to copy the thing that was highlighted, and then I'm able to insert it anywhere I'd like. So that's one way for moving things around. The other is within a branch. So within this subtopic 2, I have these 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1. But if I wanted to reorder this branch to be at the top, that's, you can hold the Alt key and use the up and down arrow. That changes the order of the node you have currently selected. So this is a way of reordering without leaving the keyboard. So if I wanted this to be sorted, you know, from 4 to 1, then I would kind of use the keyboard here. So move the 1 down there, grab the other 1, move it down there, maybe bring down the 2, bring down the 3, and there we go. We have the entire thing here. And let's say I decide that subtopic 1 is a duplicate, so I want it moved somewhere else, then I can maybe come down here and paste it there. Okay. So that's the other kind of note on how to use the keyboard for doing this type of functionality. The other thing that's really, really handy in terms of learning the keyboard shortcuts for and becoming just really fluent at expanding, collapsing the structures you're working with and navigating around them. So if you use the minus symbol, the minus key on the keyboard, it will collapse everything. It will collapse one level basically. And if you use the plus sign, it will expand one level. Now I'm saying one level because there's a bit of a subtlety here. If you use the divide, the slash basically, the divide symbol on the keyboard, it will collapse every level. So it will collapse levels recursively. So right now when I did that, if I try to expand one level using the plus sign, you'll see that it only showed the first level, but the rest, this one here, subtopic 1, was actually collapsed. Why? Because when I hit the divide, it collapsed every structure. And now I'm having to unfold them one by one. So if I select this again and hit the plus sign, again, it's expanding one level, hit the plus sign, it's expanding one more level. And you can see how this can get a bit tedious if I'm highlighting one level at a time and expanding it. And you saw here that I want to, let's say, expand both of these, but currently with what I've shown you, you'd have to select one and hit the plus sign to go to the other and hit the plus sign. But actually, there's a way to highlight both. So that would be hold down the shift key and use the arrow key to select yet another. So now you can see that both of them are selected. So the command I'm about to apply, which is the plus sign, will apply to both of those selections at the same time. So in this case, I want to expand both of those by one level. So that would be the plus sign here. And you see that they both got expanded. Now, you can see here that I have one more level left. So let's go to this, plus sign, and now we've tediously expanded this entire branch. So the divide symbol collapsed everything. What's the opposite of that? It's to expand everything. So that would be the divide is to collapse everything. The multiply symbol, the asterisk, is to expand everything. So here we go. Divide, that collapsed everything. Asterisk expanded everything. And if I collapse everything and hit the plus sign, it expanded one level. And if I select everything here and hit the asterisk, that will expand everything from that point on, or collapse everything with the divide. So you can see that this combination of keys, which is, let's actually write them down here just while we're talking. So the navigation symbols, they are actually following the mathematical or arithmetic symbols. So if I do plus sign, minus sign, and the multiply, as well as the divide symbols. So these are the keys on your keyboard. So this is for expand and collapse. And this one here, let's say expand one level, collapse one level, and this one is expand all levels, whereas this one is collapse all levels. So that's kind of the distinction there. Let's go with keyboard shortcuts, because I think that's what we are starting to capture here. I'm going to clean this up a bit, and I'm going to call this navigation, because we are now talking about full-fledged mind map that explains the navigation as we're talking about it. So let's, this is something I really love doing in meetings or when I'm taking notes or learning, is that at the end of a session, when you're trying to understand something or learn it or take notes or visualize a topic, you want to have the remnant be a usable mind map that you can just refer back to whenever you want to refresh your memory on that thing. So in this case, we were just using random topics and subtopics and nodes just to illustrate the point. But it hit me that we might as well try to capture this in a mind map that we can now at the end have this image or this mind map storing all of our understanding of the keyboard shortcuts and the ways to navigate. So here we can say keyboard shortcuts versus using the mouse. But let's continue down the keyboard shortcuts. I'm kind of backtracking now just to capture the ones we didn't touch on so far. So creating nodes, we can say the main ones here are the enter key as well as the tab keys. So enter would be to create a sibling node, whereas tab would be to create a child node. One thing I like to do sometimes is to differentiate the stuff that is, let's say, in this case, it's representing particular keys you might hit, is to give them some formatting difference. This way they would stand out. So let's say we did this, and maybe we change the text to career new. Again, it just really makes it stand out that these are the keys you might hit, and the rest is more of notes or groupings and things like that. So I think this will serve as a very easy reminder in the future. Our eye will dart directly to the particular key that we should be pressing when we are searching for something. So let's keep going. I think creating nodes maybe should come before you think about expanding and collapsing. Here we mentioned dragging the canvas, and I'm remembering things now. So here control plus 0. This will reset position and zoom, right? So maybe we can reset position and zoom. So control 0 will be how to, maybe let's say this is zooming, and control 0 is the thing. This is the key to press, whereas this is the definition of what that will do. So I think so far so good. Now you might say, okay, it's really tedious that I gotta go and reconfigure all of those. Well, there's actually a very neat way to do this. You right click, you can copy style and then paste it on another node. I've actually assigned these keyboard shortcuts specifically, so I'm going to use those. In my case, I've assigned them the Control-Shift-C to copy a style. Then you select the node you'd like to update, and Control-Shift-V to paste the style. And voila, we have now this also matching the styling we were looking at. So here we said we would do drag in the canvas, which is achieved by using right click and hold the canvas, then move around. So here we can say moving around, use the arrow keys on the keyboard to move around the nodes, right? And we said reordering, we could say well, let's actually write it like this: Alt plus up or down, and we can paste the style again. So that's the key combination. Maybe we would do it a little bit more concisely like this: key, or let's say arrow. So the Alt plus up and down. I'm separating these with a space because I think that makes it a little bit easier to read. Okay, so reordering a node, this would be by pressing the Alt and then moving up or down, and that we already covered as well. So this is, something very simplistic, creating nodes. I mean, let's do here the arrow keys. This is kind of bending the rules a bit, but use to move around the nodes. I think that just stays consistent, that the second layer will cover what the key is that you should be pressing. What else? We said multi-select. That would be shift plus up and down arrows. I believe it's just the up and down. Yes, so here I have a node selected, and then if I hit the shift and then down, I'm selecting another and a third, and so on. So now here, moving nodes, I would say that would be Control X, and for cut, well, let's say here Control X and then Control V, and this would be cut a node slash branch, paste a node slash branch. So let's again highlight these. What else? We said using the mouse here, dragging a node slash branch, move slash reorder, well, move actually, move a node slash branch to another parent node, right? Slash branch, just to be fully clear. Okay. So far so good. These are our tricks for the mouse. So a lot of times I like to put the smaller branch up top because, the thing that I'm currently working on, the thing that I expect to expand a lot more will be the keyboard shortcuts. It just seems a little bit like more neat that the smaller branch is up there. But again, it's dependent also on context. In this case, there wasn't any other preference for why mouse or keyboard shortcuts should show up first. Okay, there are more, and I realize that now there's a bunch of shortcuts that I'm suggesting that you would know. But again, I would maybe flag, let's use that. Let's flag the ones that I think are essential to know. And that would be probably so far these. So if I highlight all of these, I can now insert a marker that says maybe flag them with red. Those are the highlighted ones that maybe just using the style to flag them as the most important. The rest is more like optional as you become more fluent. So tab and enter, I mean, these are key. You need these to be able to get your thoughts down and mind map efficiently. And then the arrow keys is going to be very useful, so you don't have to reach the mouse for every parent level change or every node selection change. Expanding and collapsing both at the first level or at all levels, that will be really useful. And then here, we said creating nodes. I mean, I'm gonna keep this here to selecting nodes, selecting child nodes. I think that's another very useful one sometimes. And then I could say here, creating a parent node. I think is quite helpful, but again, not a priority for you to learn upfront. But as you become more and more advanced, you'll start to want the power and speed of using the keyboard for everything. So creating a parent node here, the shortcut for that is, well, the shortcut is Control plus Enter. So as you just saw, I just created a parent node, and I can here put on a Control Enter again. That would be a grandparent, and another a grandparent. So again, I can remove these by moving here. I'm going to cut this, paste it at this level, and then go up and just delete that entire branch. So that's all good, but I think that shortcut is really useful. But also, what's more useful is using it when you multi-select. So you can multi-select, for example, these two, and call them, one level. And then I'm selecting both of these, Control Enter, that creates a parent or a grouping for them. And then here we can say all levels. So this is very useful as well. Just the ability to select multiple things. They have to be at the same level. So I could select all of these and call them, for example, priority by creating a parent for them. So this becomes almost as useful as tab to create a child. It's to create a parent. But again, I would leave it as one of the advanced shortcuts. For now, if you need to do it with the mouse, before you have to like memorize all of that, you can go to the right click a node and see insert. You can do a parent topic here. So that will do the same thing that I just said, which is Control Enter. Okay, selecting child nodes. So selecting child nodes is interesting. If I had something like this, again, if I hit, well, first of all, if I hit Control A, it does select everything in the mind map. But here, if I wanted to, let's say, how do I select everything? Well, how do I select everything here in case I want to do something with that? That is done, let's say I wanted to change the style of this to have a like red color. So it's like now I have to use the mouse to get to this and use the shift to multi-select, or I will use my mouse to select those nodes. But it's not kind of the most keyboard efficient or keyboard friendly approach. So the shortcut for that is Control Enter and A. So Control Enter and A will select all the children at the first level, all the direct children of this node. Now the beauty of this is you can use that again. Now that I have these selected, I can select all of their children in one shot. So Control Alt A. Now I've got all of these done. Now imagine this had I'm going to copy now. So Control C, and this had. So imagine, I'm here and I want to select this branch and this branch. How do I get there? Control Alt A, Control Alt A again. Now I've selected that entire level. But Control Alt A again, I've selected that entire level. So every time, whatever level you're at, if you had all of those selected at the same time, then getting to all of their children is this Control Alt A. And I think that's really useful. So I've selected all of these, but I could have done it with Control Alt A, and then I can go here and let's say turn all of these to orange color with bolding, with bold formatting. So again, it's a very quick way to achieve this type of behavior. So I'm gonna go back here. Now, how do I delete, let's say, all of these if I just want to go back to a straight up node without children? Well, again, we use our handy Control Alt A, and then I hit delete, and now I've deleted everything. So this here, the shortcut for this is Control plus Alt plus A. And we can still paste our style here. We started kind of missing out on entering a quick note to describe. Move, select, and move a node or group of nodes to reorder them within a particular, let's say to reorder them amongst their siblings. Siblings. Shift plus up and down. Again, select multiple nodes amongst siblings. So you can't, multi-select to the right to select a child, but you can multi-select by hitting shift and pressing up. Now I'm selecting the siblings of this one upwards, or select this again and shift down will select will multi-select downwards. Putting this multi-select first because we're referring to it in this reordering one. Finally, creating a parent node. I think this one is a bit self-explanatory. It may even be that here I'm copying I'm copying the text of this. That's actually more like the description of what this shortcut will do. So what exactly is this giving us? This is more like creating nodes. So technically this could go here. Control plus enter, creating a parent node. But it's under the category of creating nodes. So I'm going to remove that. Selecting, so we can it looks like we are talking about selecting in a couple of different ways. So maybe selecting, reordering, and multi-selecting are all under selecting. So maybe amongst those, multi-select comes first, reordering is really useful, and selecting child nodes is that shortcut. So we can do this, select child nodes. Oops. Select child nodes. And then this one here would be select and move a node. Reordering by selecting and so let's actually maybe simplify this. So this is reorder a node or group of nodes amongst their siblings. We can get rid of that now. And this we can move up. Okay, so there you go. Shift plus up down, select multiple nodes among siblings. I kind of want these to go back to being just under expand and collapse instead of grouped like this because we already explained that here. So I'm going to use the Control Alt A to select this level, Control Alt A to select their children, Control X to cut all of those out, Shift down to multi-select both of these, delete to delete them. Now I'm selected the parent and I can paste the individual children that I copied earlier, cut earlier. So Control V will give me all of those. So there you go. That's kind of putting a bunch of these ideas together. And to be honest, like I don't have to think too hard about it. I've internalized like all these shortcuts and intuitively know what I can and can't do to achieve the thing that I want. So I don't normally like sit and plan how will I move this from here to there. It's the action you just saw me take where I wanted this level to get rid of the groupings and then move them under this. It just flowed naturally from me using all of those shortcuts we discussed so far fluently and regularly that it's become second nature that I can navigate very fluently like that. I want to end that with saying like this is really useful because remember that the goal here is how quickly can I get my ideas from my mind onto this canvas. And in a meeting, or if you're taking notes, or if you are trying to actually capture a bunch of ideas that you are brainstorming and you want to capture them as quickly as your brain is thinking of them, a lot of times I try to use the fluency that I have with navigation and keyboard shortcuts to reduce that lag time. So as an example, if I am sometimes let's say I'm brainstorming ideas, and again all of this is keyboard shortcuts, so let's say idea one, and then I thought like something else, blah blah, etc. Check this, then this one had like a couple. All of this is happening as quickly as possible, and I don't have to think about grouping them yet or saying them in a very concise way because I know that as soon as there's a lull in the getting them down to, like, even if they are a bunch of them are captured so linearly like this, then I know that as soon as like I pause on the ideation, then I'm able to refactor. And that's key, that I'm able to refactor these to, introduce maybe grouping 1. These 4 are group 2. Oh, but group 1 and 2 actually cut. They belong in the blah blah, etc. I don't need it. These become something else, and then I can, let's say, maybe Control Alt A again. I can delete these. This one becomes maybe I'm using the keyboard shortcuts, the arrow keys to move this to here. And now let's say I want the grouping group 1 and 2 to be highlighted very clearly. So I select both children, give them bold formatting, as well as maybe change their color to green. And voila, I just was able, even though I captured them linearly as fast as possible, I'm not worried about that because I'm able to refactor them as soon as there's like a minute or a second or a lull in the speed with which the ideas are coming or the notes that I'm capturing are coming. And then I will quickly refactor it using the keyboard shortcut so that we're organized again into something cohesive. Now I'm like done with this section, then I'm gonna collapse them out of the way, back to this so that I can start capturing more things again. So there you go. That's I'm gonna delete all of this now, but that's navigation, let's say, masterful navigation, if I may say so. It just comes from a lot of practice. As I mentioned, these ones are probably the most important ones to know if you are just starting. This will give you a bunch of fluency already. And then some of these other ones are cherries on top as you become more and more fluent and as the need for navigating and refactoring becomes more apparent in your work. All right. I hope you found that helpful. That was a lot of talking very quickly. But if you like this video, please leave me a like and a subscribe. You can expect a lot more content where I put the concepts to use. No fluff. Let's just get into it and become masters at ideating, brainstorming, and using this wonderful tool of mind mapping. All right. Thanks for watching.